So good evening, students. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, kindly. Can you all enable your videos? We'll start the class. Okay. So if you all remember, so we were understanding about life processes chapter, and we had started understanding about digestion. So digestion is still not completed. So in the previous part of the class, we had started understanding about the digestion activity in the human body. We understood the entire alimentary canal, the parts of the alimentary canal, the organs, the different types of glands which are associated with that. All these things we understood. So in the previous class, we understood how digestion activity takes place in the buccal cavity in the mouth with release of enzymes. And also we understood the activity of digestion which takes place in the stomach. So these two things we understood. So moving ahead further, we are going to understand today about the digestion which takes place in the small intestine. So just to make you realize, when we understood about the digestion in the mouth, okay. So first step is digestion in the mouth. So in digestion in the mouth, we understood that there is secretion of saliva, and saliva is going to secrete salivary amylase. So this is a very important enzyme which is going to be present in the mouth. Then after that, we understood about digestion in stomach. So with respect to the activity of digestion which takes place in the stomach, we understood that it is going to have presence of gastric gland. And this gastric gland is going to secrete various types of fluids. One is hydrochloric acid, another is considered to be as pepsin, fourth is considered to be as renin, and also we understood about lipase. So these are the different types of enzymes what we understood in case of the stomach. So today, let's try to understand about the digestion in small intestine. So if we try to understand the digestion in small intestine, the activity of what we call it as the digestion almost comes to an end here. Okay, so fine, let's go ahead with this. So as you all know, small intestine is going to have three parts. One is considered to be as duodenum. Second is jejunum. And lastly, it is ileum. So these are the three parts what we have. So let's go ahead to understand the activity of digestion which takes place in the duodenum first. So first we'll try to understand how the activity of digestion takes place in the duodenum. What are all the enzymes required for the activity of digestion which takes place in the duodenum, we'll understand. Then we'll go with the jejunum as well as the ileum part. So first, let's go with this. So here what happens, the food which has been digested in the stomach, it has been converted into chyme. Last class we have understood this. It has converted into chyme, and the chyme it started to move towards the part of the duodenum by the relaxation of the pyloric sphincter. We had discussed that last class. So from the pyloric sphincter, when it relaxes, the chyme starts pouring into the part of the duodenum. So as the food starts being poured to the duodenum, now here what happens, let's try to understand. So in case of duodenum, duodenum is having connections from liver, which is considered to be as bile duct. Now liver is going to secrete something called as bile juice, and that bile juice will be actually stored in the gallbladder. Now from the gallbladder through the bile duct, bile juice is secreted. So bile juice is secreted. So bile juice contains mainly carbonate ions. So we have already understood about that. What are all the secretions given out by that? So this bile is very important in enabling. So then after that, next we are able to see the presence of pancreas. So as you all know, in the last class itself I had told you, pancreas is considered to be as a heterocrine gland. One part acts as endocrine, another part acts as exocrine by secreting variety of hormones. So this pancreas is going to secrete something called as pancreatic juice. It is going to secrete pancreatic juice. So this pancreatic juice is very much essential for the activity of digestion of the food molecules. So let's try to understand what are all is going to be present in case of this pancreatic juice. So usually the pancreatic juice can act on the food molecules only in alkaline medium. And where is that alkaline medium provided from? Alkaline medium is provided from the bile juice. So let's first try to understand the enzymes secreted by the pancreatic juice. So first type of enzyme under this pancreas is considered to be as pancreatic trypsin. So we are able to see secretion of pancreatic trypsin. So what is this pancreatic trypsin going to do? So pancreatic trypsin converts proteins into peptones, and peptones are being further converted into peptides and amino acids. So trypsin, what it is going to do? It acts on proteins. Proteins are converted into peptones, and peptones are further converted into peptides and amino acids. So this is the importance of the trypsin. Trypsin is going to act on proteins. Proteins are converted into peptones, and further these peptones are converted into peptides as well as amino acids. Is that clear, everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Next, after this, the next enzyme secreted by the pancreas is considered to be as amylase. So it is going to be converted, it's called as amylase. So amylase is the one which is going to act on starch. So there is huge amount of starch molecule what we consume. So amylase acts on starch, and starch is being converted to maltose. It is converted to maltose. So maltose is very, very important. So further breakdown of this maltose takes place in the next step of ileum. So here pancreas is secreting first enzyme trypsin, which is mainly focusing on proteins. Proteins are getting converted to peptones. Peptones are converted to peptides and amino acids. Whereas amylase acts on starch. Starch is converted to maltose. So amylase acts on starch. Whereas when you take example of trypsin, trypsin acts on proteins. So further division means breakdown is going to take place. Then after this, we have one more important enzyme secreted by this pancreas, which is considered to be as pancreatic lipase. So it is considered to be as lipase. So we have lipase. So what is the importance of this lipase? Lipase enzyme is mainly being acted on the fats as well as lipids. So it is going to act on fats or lipids. So this fats and lipids, whatever we are able to see, that is being converted to fatty acid. It is being converted to fatty acid and glycerol. So this activity takes place with the help of lipase. So lipase acts on fats and lipids, and from there it is being converted to fatty acids and glycerol. So three important enzymes secreted by the pancreas: trypsin, amylase, lipase. Please remember, gastric glands, the enzymes were pepsin, renin, and lipase. And to make you realize one more thing, in the last class we had understood renin is going to be secreted only in case of infants, not in the adult body. So pepsin and lipase becomes the most important enzymes. Hydrochloric acid is required to make the food acidic. Now the digested food molecules, when it is coming to the duodenum, that food is acidic, but it needs to be converted to basic medium or alkaline medium, for which bile duct is secreting bile juice. Only at that time pancreas will be secreting pancreatic juice, which can act on the food as a result, means it can act on the food only when the food is considered to be as alkaline in nature. At that time, three enzymes are required: trypsin, amylase, lipase. So trypsin acts on proteins, amylase acts on starch, lipase acts on fats. Is that clear to everybody? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you please respond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can make a note of this one. Then after that, I will go to the next part, ileum. Once you complete, please give a thumbs up sign for that, so that I can start continuing with the next part. Okay. Okay. And then, so we'll go to the next one. So we have understood duodenum. I'm going to rub this part. So next is considered to be as ileum. So duodenum digestion is completed. So we'll be taking now next as ileum. Okay. So let's try to understand what are all the things which is going to happen in case of the ileum. So here, what will happen is the digested food which is going to be seen from the duodenum So as a result of this, the food needs to be activated, means food needs to be further digested with various other enzymes. So here, ileum is going to secrete an enzyme which is called as intestinal juice. So ileum is going to secrete intestinal juice. So this intestinal juice is also called as Sucrose entericus. Sucrose entericus. So this is the enzyme which is going to be secreted by the ileum. So various enzymes are going to be present in the ileum, which is going to help in converting the food, complex food, into the simplest molecule. So which are all those? Let's try to understand that. So here, again, alkaline medium is going to be continued even in case of ileum also. So the first enzyme is considered to be as, again, trypsin. So we understood the action of trypsin by the pancreatic juice. Same way, even the intestinal juice also secretes trypsin. So where is this trypsin acting on? See, not all the proteins would have converted into amino acids. Some are still left out in the form of peptones. So trypsin acts on peptones. When it acts on peptones, peptones get converted to amino acid. So trypsin is acting on peptone. Peptone is converted to amino acid. Is that clear? Understood, everybody? Then next one, we have another enzyme which is considered to be as maltase. Maltase enzyme is going to be present here. So let's try to understand what's the function of maltase. So we have understood that pancreatic amylase converts the food, that is mainly starch, into maltose. So maltose has to be converted into further simpler molecule, right? So further simpler molecule is considered to be as glucose. So maltase acts on maltose. Maltose is considered to be as disaccharide. Disaccharide means two sugar units which are linked with each other. That's considered to be as disaccharide. So maltose is converted to glucose, simplest food molecule called as glucose, and that activity takes place by action of maltase on maltose. So first enzyme is trypsin, converting peptone to amino acid. Maltase acting on maltose to convert that into glucose. So this is the second important enzyme. Then after that, we have something called as lactase. Okay, so lactase is another enzyme. So this particular enzyme, lactase, is going to act on lactose sugar. So lactose sugar we are going to get only when we consume foods such as milk, curd, yogurt, such type of things will be having lactose in it. So lactose to be converted to glucose, and it actually splits to form glucose and galactose. So if it has to get converted to glucose and galactose, we require lactase enzyme which is acting on lactose. So it acts on lactose, lactose gets converted to glucose and galactose. Is that clear? Understood? Everybody? Shall I proceed?
Yes,
so after
sir.
lactase enzyme, we have something called as the next enzyme, sucrose. Let's try to understand about the sucrose. So we have the next enzyme called as sucrose. So sucrose, sorry, I made a mistake. Not sucrose, it is sucrase. So sucrase is the enzyme which is going to act on food called as sucrose. Sucrose is considered to be as what people eat as sweet sugar. Sugar, basically, crystal sugar, what you eat, it is sucrose. As well as jaggery, whatever you consume, it is sucrose. Along with that, various types of fruits, whichever you consume, which is very sweet to taste, they're all considered to be as sucrose. So this sucrose has to be converted to two types of simple food. One is glucose, another is fructose. So sucrose to be converted to glucose and fructose, you require sucrase enzyme. So sucrase enzyme is going to be acting on sucrose and helps in conversion to glucose and fructose. Is that fine? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Lastly, we have one more enzyme present in the ileum, which is considered to be as again lipase. So this lipase enzyme is going to act on fat or lipid. So fat and lipid, when it is going to act on fat and lipid, it gets converted to mainly fatty acid and glycerol. So these are the end products what you get ultimately. So you can see complex food we consumed as starch, protein, as well as fats. So all these things have completely now broken down into simplest food molecules: amino acid, glucose, galactose, fructose, fatty acid, and glycerol. So for that, you require all these enzymes. Please make a note of this one, which is going to take place in the part of the ileum. Kindly make a note of this. Exactly. Open them. Like that? Is this done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now observe here. Once the digestion has all completed, you get all these substances which are simplest substances. Glucose, whatever we get, glucose, galactose, fructose, all this are considered to be as monosaccharides. They are considered to be as monosaccharides. So glucose is a monosaccharide, galactose is a monosaccharide, fructose is also a monosaccharide. So these are the one which readily enters into your cells and have the capacity of providing energy. So it has been converted to monosaccharides. So all these food molecules, be it amino acid, monosaccharides, fatty acids, and glycerol, they're all considered to be as soluble. They're considered to be as soluble products. So where is it actually getting converted to soluble products? So basically, all these food molecules, what we get, needs to be absorbed into the part of the what do you call it as the blood. Now the blood has to take up the responsibility of transporting all these substances to the exact locations. That is nothing but cells. every cell of your body will be in requirement of these products, that is soluble products. So now the next step is what I call it as the activity of absorption. So where is absorption going to take place? Now usually absorption takes place in the part of this jejunum and the last, which is considered as the last part of the small intestine. So there what happens is, now observe the board everybody, I just write the diagram. Now assume that if this is the lumen of the small intestine, so this small intestine lumen will be having columnar epithelium cells like this. So you can see something like this. Okay. Same way here also. Columnar epithelium cells. Like this. So these cells, we call them as microvilli. Okay, we call them as microvilli. All these are considered to be as microvilli. So what will happen is, hope everybody can see this, what I have written on the board, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the microvilli, whatever you are able to see, are finger-like projections with a large surface area, which is going to be soaked in the digested soluble food products. Now what happens? These microvilli will be connected with thin blood vessels. Okay. So what will happen here is microvilli have the capacity of absorbing all the food molecules. So it absorbs all the food molecules, and then the digested food molecules which is being absorbed from the microvilli gets transported to the blood vessels. From the blood vessels, it is being transported to every cell where there is requirement of energy. So that's how the activity of absorption takes place. Is that clear to you? Is that clear to you? Everybody? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Then there is another interesting thing which we need to understand. Here what happens is, when the digestion activity is going to be taking place, so there the amino acids gets absorbed by microvilli, glucose gets absorbed by microvilli, galactose gets absorbed, fructose gets absorbed, but whereas fatty acids and glycerol will not be absorbed by microvilli. So microvilli, if it is not absorbing yet, then what is going to happen to this? So these things are going to be carried to the lymphatic vessels. So fats and fatty acids, whatever we have, and glycerol, whatever we have, they are going to be carried to the lymphatic vessels, or I can call it as lymph vessels. So they are going to be carried to the lymph vessels. So once they are carried to the lymph vessels, so these lymph vessels are going to be carrying these components, that is fatty acids and glycerols, to the target organs. So that is how absorption activity takes place. Hope this is clear with everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now next what happens is assimilation of the food. So what is this assimilation activity? Let's try to understand. So food which is being digested, absorbed, is next going to show the activity of assimilation. So when it shows assimilation, assimilation is going to take place where the protoplasm of the cells are going to be present. So this takes place in following methods. By what method? First and the foremost thing, the final product what you get from the fat, that is considered to be as fatty acids, are going to be absorbed by the lymph, and then it will be going to be stored in the adipose tissue as reserve food. So that is what I call it as assimilation. So the fats are going to be converted, that means fatty acids and glycerols which is being absorbed gets converted again into fats, and it will be stored in the part of the adipose tissue of the human body. So where is this adipose tissue present? Adipose tissue is going to be present in the part of the palm region, stomach region, cheek region. In all these regions, we are able to see the presence of the adipose tissue. That is where we are able to see fatty acids and glycerols are again converted into fats, and it will be stored in the adipose tissue. Is that fine? Then, whatever we are able to see as simple sugars, glucose, that goes into cells. Before going into cell, human body, what it is going to do is, it will ensure that not all the glucose which is being absorbed goes into the cells of every human body. Means in the entire human body, whatever the cells are there, it is not going to go directly there itself. There is one more mechanism wherein first all these absorbed glucose molecules will be entering the liver. In the liver, what will happen is all this component, glucose, majority of them are converted to glycogen. They are going to be converted to glycogen as reserve food materials. Is that clear to you? Okay. So whenever the human body requires energy, so whenever the human body requires energy and a person is going to show the activity of what you call it as the fasting or something like that, at that particular point of time, the glycogen is getting again converted to the glucose and body gets energy out of it. So that is the second step of assimilation. First step, fatty acids and glycerol are again converted to fats stored in adipose tissue. Second step, glucose is getting converted to glycogen. Okay, and after that, next what happens is, whatever the amino acids we have, those amino acids are converted either to hormones or either it is converted to enzymes, and it will be stored in various parts of the human body. So that is how we are able to see assimilation of the food molecules. Is that clear? Everybody understood that part? Then last part, what happens there is something called as egestion. Okay. So what is this egestion? Egestion is considered to be as elimination of undigested food molecules. So it is elimination of undigested food molecules. So how is elimination of undigested food molecules being done? So though after the convergence, though after all this activity of digestion is going to take place, some amount of food again is still remained as it is, which is still not completely digested. So that undigested food from the jejunum starts moving to the part of the large intestine. So we are able to see the large intestine, cecum, colon, rectum. So it passes through the cecum, colon, rectum, where there is absorption of the watery molecules. Only the undigested food will be there, and it gets stored in the rectum. So once it gets stored in the rectum, after that, what happens is the rectum gets fully filled. The pressure is going to be built up. As a result of this, the food is going to be, the undigested food is going to be eliminated as feces. It is going to be eliminated as feces by the activity called as defecation. With activity of defecation. Is that clear? Understood? Everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So this activity we call it as egestion. So with that, we complete the activity of digestion in the human body. So any doubt in this part? So just to brief you up once again. So what we have done here is, in the digestion activity, very first we understood how digestion takes place. Prior to that, we understood very first about the nutrition. After nutrition, means a variety of nutritions we understood. That is autotropic, under autotropic, photosynthetic, synthetic. After that, we understood about holozoic. So under holozoic, we took example of amoeba. Then we understood about the human body. So we understood the entire digestive system structure, what are all the parts present in it. Then we also understood how the vocal cavity will be having presence of the teeth with the jaws in it, and those teeth we understood the dental formula. Then after that we understood about the accessory glands, which are considered to be as the glands responsible for the digestion activity by secreting enzymes. So those glands are very first salivary glands, then we have the presence of gastric gland, then liver, pancreas, intestinal gland. 5 glands are there. Then we understood how the digestion of food takes place in the mouth with the help of saliva, which is being secreting salivary amylase. Then digestion in stomach, we understood gastric gland, which is secreting hydrochloric acid, making the food acidic, as well as it is going to have pepsin, renin, as well as lipase. So then we understood about the small intestine. In duodenum, we understood pancreatic juice will be secreted along with the bile juice. So with this duodenum, when the pancreatic juice is secreted, we are able to see pancreatic trypsin, as well as pancreatic, as lipase. Along with that, we also understood about the pancreatic amylase. So 3 things there. Then coming to the ileum, there is intestinal juice, also called Sucrose entericus. So there is trypsin, maltase, lactase, sucrase, lipase. All this becomes a soluble products, and it is going to be absorbed. After absorption, it is assimilation. Once the assimilation takes place, there is nothing but digestion, which is also called as defecation. So with that, the activity of digestion gets completed. Okay, I hope nobody has any doubt in this part. Hodalwa?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have to start with a new concept. The new concept is called as respiration. So respiration part, we'll try to understand it in the next class. Okay. So just make a few points about what we discussed about the absorption and assimilation. Write down that. Absorption. Write down as absorption. Absorption is a process in which digestion takes place. In which digested food molecules are absorbed. Digested food molecules are absorbed into the bloodstream. Okay. Absorption activity takes place in jejunum. Absorption activity takes place in jejunum. The jejunum, where jejunum has presence of microvilli. Which are finger-like projections. These villi are soaked in the digested food. Okay. Next. Microvilli are connected with blood vessels. Next. The food which is being absorbed from microvilli food being absorbed by microvilli. Microvilli. Goes into the bloodstream. Goes into the bloodstream. It goes into the bloodstream. Whereas fatty acids and glycerol are absorbed by lymphatic vessels. Absorbed by whereas fatty acids are absorbed by lymphatic vessels. Okay, is that fine? Next, assimilation, right? As assimilation. The absorbed food is assimilated to the body. Is assimilated to the body in different steps, such as glucose gets converted to glycogen. Glucose gets converted to glycogen. Next, fatty acids and glycerol are converted to fats. Are converted to fats and stored in adipose tissue.
Excuse me, sir. Can you repeat it?
Fatty acids and glycerol are converted to fats and stored in adipose tissue. Next, amino acids are converted to useful proteins. Required for the body. The last item is egestion. Under egestion, written as the undigested food molecules enters the large intestine and gets stored in rectum. And it is defecated from the body through anus, and it is defecated from body through anus. Okay, everybody understood this?
Yes.
So with this, we have completed the digestion activity in the human body. So we have to continue with respiration. So I'll start that respiration activity from next class. Okay. So respiration is basically the continuation of digestion. Means the food molecules like glucose, which is being transported to a cell. In the cell, it is going to be broken down into carbon dioxide, water with energy. How is that going to take place? That is respiration. We'll try to understand that in the next class. Okay, everybody, fine. So we'll meet you in the next class. Until then, bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.